Hello and welcome to the Blaston commentary series or something. I am your host, Robopresident. This is the series where we review my awful Blaston gameplay. We talk about Blaston news, Blaston gameplay theory, and we do it all unscripted because scripts are for simps, as you know. Okay, so today's episode, here's what we're getting into. Now, we all have takes. You and I, dear listener. Takes that sometimes are what you might consider a hot take. And I would be inclined to agree. Yesterday, or I always say yesterday, last episode, we looked at good feedback from the community, suggestions that might make the game a better place to play. Well, this time around, we are going to look at bad takes. This isn't necessarily feedback, but I just went and scoured the Discord for some of the most laughable, awful, objectively bad opinions. They may or may not be satire, who knows, but they are about to be immortalized forever in video format for your dissemination so that you may laugh with me and we may bully them. Well, no, we don't condone bullying here on the Robopresident channel. We may help nudge them in the right direction together, because this is a place of constructive feedback. So we're going to look at some of these great takes and break them down. We're going to try to get inside some of the minds of our fellow Blastonians and figure out what makes them tick. What led them to this conclusion? Why do they think this way? And does it keep me up at night? Yes. Yes, it does. So let's jump in. Number one, I've got one from Yellkel, the man himself. He yells at all the Kells. He says the following: I just want to lay down some facts about Super Majestic. 1. It costs 3 more than Nova. 2. It offers less both defensively and offensively than Nova. 3. I run it every game because if I didn't, I'd never lose a round. Undefeated, undisputed. Man, that's a man of conviction there, don't you think? So let's talk about this a little bit. Maybe you haven't played Blaston for some reason, you're watching my video. You might see some Super Majestic gameplay later today. But let's talk about the Super Majestic. So Majestic is a class of weapon in which it fires beam cages. And a beam cage basically is just a laser cage that comes out that cannot be countered. It cannot be destroyed with shields. It cannot be destroyed with projectiles. And it causes damage over time, high damage over time while standing in it. It's almost like baby zap damage. And there are several types of Majestic weapons. You have the normal Majestic, which is it's an awful weapon from the pits of Hades. It's gone through several iterations. The Majestic is just bad. No one should ever use it right now. In its current state, as of June 2022, the Majestic is probably one of the absolute worst weapons, and anybody who tries to defend it, I don't know what to tell you. I literally don't know what to tell. You're leaving me speechless. The thought of creating a straw man for Majestic defenders, I can't. Anyways, so you have normal Majestic. Then you also have the Majestic Grenade, which is actually kind of based. It's a 3-second spawn time, then it drops a beam cage, a much larger beam cage than the weird and wacky, wild, normal Majestic. And what it would be used for is area denial for low cooldown. The trade-off is skilled placement. So with your normal Majestic nade, and maybe we'll see some today, I honestly don't remember if I get anybody who uses the Majestic nade. It's not like normal grenades where you can just toss it wherever you want and then eventually your projectiles will reach the podium. your placement matters. So the majestic projectile only travels a few feet forward and then stops. So you have to time your release very carefully, which means it runs the risk of either being grabbed if you throw it too soon, or you just break the grenade on the ground and you wasted your grenade. But the 3-second spawn time, the cooldown time, gives you plenty of time to keep your build low. So Majestic Nade is good. Then you also have the Avalanche Nade, which is sort of a hybrid. Basically, it was a shotgun nade that when it hit you, gave a bunch of little majestic projectiles. It was sort of like the Hammer Nade on steroids in the last update. It was very much a meta nade, has since been nerfed, and no one really uses it anymore. Now, what Yellkill is referring to is the granddaddy, well, the papa, the big papa of them all, the Super Majestic, which fires a large beam cage, and it takes 10 seconds to spawn. 10 CDs nuts to spawn in. Now, the deal with this is that it's a fairly high damage projectile. It takes a large portion of the podium away, but you trade off a ton of your build time. In fact, you take up almost about over 1/3 of your 27 allotted seconds if you want to have a decent spawn time, cycle time on your build, dedicated just to this one weapon. Now, it's highly unconventional, so a lot of people don't use it. Yellkill is one of the few that would use it well. I've also seen other people use it well. I think we're going to see Aaron555 use it today in some upcoming matches. But now, here's the parts of Yellkill's points that work. So, it costs 3 more than Nova, which is true. Okay, that's a statement of fact. It does. And offers less defensively and offensively than Nova. I would agree with the first point, because of course it offers less defensively. Although, I think that the gun's collision is more than Nova, so it's a better drop blocking weapon. But you shouldn't rely on it, because 10 seconds, you want that gun to cycle quickly. So you kind of don't want to be swinging it around like a shield, because that thing's going to take 10 seconds to spawn once it hits the floor and breaks. And offensively, that's a big depends. I mean, it's not doing... So you get 30 damage on an insta-pop with your standard Nova, or less, depending on the attachment. But the Super Majestic, the damage over time is very devastating. It will catch you off guard, especially if you push someone into the Super Majestic. So I don't know if that's... I mean, at first, your initial damage... Nova has higher initial damage, but Super Majestic has higher overall damage, because Super Majestic can actually kill you dead. So I don't know if that's 100% a correct take. But it does offer less defensively. And finally, his last point here, I run it in every game because if I didn't, I'd never lose a round. Hey, you know, Yellkill's 100% right. There's the Super Majestic right there. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. Big old stupid thing in your face. So you get to see some in action, and you get to see. Look at this tall man swinging over my Novas. I want to see the tall height doesn't make a difference. People defend that. I guess it does. Man, he was just swinging over my defenses like some wild ape. But anyways. So yeah, I'm gonna say this take gets a smell out of Kell. That's my take on that one. So one smell out of 1 Kell. All right, let us move forward. Next take from Alpha Cupcake, moderator of the Blaston Discord, who may or may not be cherished. It depends. His status just depends on how much he's squeaking for the day. He says, unpopular opinion, Health Nova does not need a nerf. Oh boy. Why you gotta be this way? And I'm saying this as I'm using a Health Nova on screen right this very second. Look. And I don't know how anyone... The defense master himself, Robopresident, is well, the former defense master. I'm not anymore, but I was one of the best. I'm telling you this. Nova, Tank Nova, is like having double shields in one weapon for the cost of 7 CD, and you can just not run 2 shields and spend that other weapon spot on an actual weapon. Does that make sense? Right? And the main weakness of Nova is you just get less counter to aerials because shields do better against grenades. That's basically it. I mean, Tank Nova is like having a mobile walking shield that has the potential to do damage. It's crazy because it focuses more on the defense end, but it also still retains most of the trapping features. You just watched it happen. You literally just watched it happen. Aaron has very strong offense. His Viper offense was crazy, but he could not penetrate those Tank Novas because it just blocked all of his Viper shots, and I just walked all over him. So, yeah, that Health Nova, Tank Nova, whatever you want to call it, it does need a rebalance. But I do want to make this very clear. If HP Nova gets a rebalance, you have to make sure that the other weapons that affect defense also get a rebalance, and that includes Bounce Luma. Do not unbalance one without the other. And this is also not a call to nerf, Hammer and all those things. Those are fine. But just make sure that you don't single out the one without the other. Because right now, the Bounce Luma and the HP Nova are in a weird spot. They counter, you use one to counter the other, but they both really need the knocking. They do. They need the hammer. The nerf hammer. So Alpha, I give your take 15 barf emojis and 3 nerd emojis out of 5. Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good take. I'm sorry, my friend. Okay, next up, another defense take because people in Blaston do not like it if you block their shots because they want to hit you. Tesseract says, if anything, shields need to be nerfed. And that got 2 raised hands and a laugh. He laughed. No. Shields are fine right now. In a lot of ways, because they don't have attachments, they still struggle to compete in certain scenarios. Cortex being the optimum candidate for some kind of I don't know how to fix this. So there's a big problem here, and so I'm gonna go a little bit on a diatribe again. Look, long time ago, there used to be a combo you could do called double shields, and this was back in the Crackdown update. Aegis used to have a 3-second spawn time with like 100 something health, and decent other stats. And Cortex was similarly spec'd out, but had 4 CD. And so for 7 CD, you could cycle out shields, keep your loadout pretty lightweight, and have a veritable all seasons loadout that could work for most things and then counter out other people's big player items. And so it sort of became the loadout that you needed to run. And it may or may not have been my fault. But anyways, so there's been a hesitance to rebalance shields since then because they don't want to go in this direction. Now, Aegis, in my opinion, and this is the small shield, you'll see Tim using this shield against me right now. That's the tiny 3-second shield. Has since been rebalanced into a parry function because in Quick Draw, that was the update that immediately preceded Crackdown, which broke the double shield meta, so to speak. Both shields got a pretty bad nerf, and it was kind of, in my opinion, disastrous. And then in Arctic Blast, it was a big step in the right direction. Aegis got a lifetime of the shield reduction, so it went from like, it was like 1 second to 0.8 seconds. It might have been even less. I'm doing the patch notes off the top of my head. But the health was heavily increased. So basically, you would just parry any attack with it, but the lifetime of the shield lasted way less. I think it was actually a second and a half or something way longer. And the point was, it was just use a quick pop, but the health was reliable enough to just last. So that was the point. But Cortex, they were almost afraid to bring it to its full potential. So that in the previous update in Arctic Blast, that's the one that's preceding the current update as of right now, which is Reloaded. The Cortex was like 6 CD and had less stats. It was smaller than it is now and had less health. The Cortex was awful. It was absolutely awful. And the only point to that was to prevent double shielding. And it was just garbage. Now, Cortex got a buff. It was given a wider size, lasted longer, and I think a slightly larger health pool. And actually, the health pool may have been reduced, but the CD was reduced. But what we're still finding is, because offense was still given a buff, because you have slow hammer nade, you have fast wildcat, you have all these different attachments which give volume of fire a much larger role. Cortex, in my opinion, still doesn't stand up to a full-on clamp assault from a veteran player. It just doesn't work. It will snap. I think Aegis is the better pick because it's more reliable. It will take, I mean, you will have it for only 0.8 seconds, but it's less liable to snap, even though you're getting more surface area with Cortex, in my opinion. So, but I don't think that shields in any case are overpowered, and for whatever reason, the sentiment here is, if anything, shields need to be nerfed. I know Tess is probably taking the piss, 100%, because Tess takes the piss. He is the piss master. So I don't even know why I've given this that much attention. I give this 5 wheelchairs out of 10. So thank you for that, Tesseract. All right, next up from Alpha Cuptake, because this is a bad take. Again, making the list, the bow. The bow is not fun. It's a good weapon, but not fun. IMO. Taking a cue from Bananas with the IMOs. Yeah, no, the bow's really fun. And look, fun is subjective. So I'm not really going to have a good subjective argument for whether, or not using the bow. The Luma bow is fun. But it adds a whole new dimension to Blaston that Blaston did not have. And that's the technical skill of using 2 hands to manipulate a weapon, which plays into Blaston's philosophy, which is using your entire body for VR. And that's what Blaston is about. So I'm not sure why it's not fun. I guess you can just say it's not fun, but there wasn't really a reason given. So I wish I knew Alpha's logic. I'm sure he'll comment. He'll tell me why. We're going to get a comment below, and he will tell us why. He'll just say, I think it's fun now. It's okay. Or he'll say Vector Meta or something to that effect. But I personally think the Luma is a very welcome addition. And I hope that there are more lower CD weapons that require the use of 2 hands in the future, because that opens higher skill ceiling opportunities for players. So, and the Luma bow represents essentially the future of high skill gameplay, in my opinion. Undoubtedly. And I think actually using the Luma bow has helped me with my horrible Viper game, even though my Viper game is still bad. But anyways, so yeah, no, the bow. I think the bow's fun. It's great fun. Maybe one day we'll get a 2-handed. don't know. I don't know what else could be two-handed that requires that level of skill. I really don't. Maybe, I don't know, throwing knives or something? Some kind of, something. I don't know. But I'm sure something's got to exist. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so this Alpha Cupcake take, making the list twice in one day for bad takes, gets 2 stinky rotten cupcakes. And I'm calling him, it's a beta cupcake. 2 beta cupcakes out of 5. On to the next take from Very Hungry Cat. He says, Hueso is a hot babe. Whoa! Hey! How'd that one get in there? I'm not entertaining this. Yeah, look, guys, that's all I got. You know how I was grasping. I'm grasping at straws. I don't really have a lot of takes for today. And wouldn't you know it, I'm already almost done. Today's a little bit of a shorter episode. Aaron's about to have he's almost out of 5s. He's maybe got, I think I got him down to 1-5 here. And here it comes. We're just going to give him a little bit of some Raptor E action. And Cortex may be coming in for the save. And there it is. That's it. That is, I just knocked over a water bottle. That is the last game of the night. Thank you so much for watching, listening, whatever you do, listening to some of these awful takes. But I appreciate you all, and we'll see you on the next one. Like, favorite, subscribe, whatever. Catch you later.